Sometimes you can look at a game and with just a single glance tell exactly what it is. This video just happens to be about one of those games, wearing its inspiration not just on its sleeve, but all over itself. One habit I try to catch myself on when discussing games is comparing everything to a different video game, because it can be a bit reductive at times and muddy the discussion. But that endeavor is somewhat impossible for me to do here, so I apologize in advance. If you enjoyed the wave of monster racing games from the late 90s and early aughts, you'll probably immediately feel its hooks in you. The presentation is Game Boy era Pokemon, the combat is Dragon Quest Monsters, and at times the personality is Digimon. This Creatures, launched recently on Steam by Dangan Entertainment and developed by a single indie developer, Sato, sets out to remind you of all those things while offering modern conveniences. Does it offer enough to be worth your time over a replay of those influences though? Let's take a look. So if you've played Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, or even Green, the title screen immediately makes the game feel like a warped, surreal version of what you remember. You follow through to start in a sprite-based bed in the lower left corner of your character's room, fumbling about and tinkering with your PC and gaming system before heading downstairs. Exiting your home reveals that your house is one of three with some vacant land below your house. Yeah, I mean, duh, but yeah. From here things diverge a bit, and this game's own twists and other inspirations start blending in amid the nostalgia. In Disc Creatures, you sign up to become a Disc Ranger, as opposed to a Pokemon trainer or a Digimon tamer. Rolls off the tongue just as nicely though. You bring some paperwork to Town Hall and pick 3 starting creatures out of an assortment of 5, each representing a different element. And I'll go ahead and say some of these creature designs aren't too memorable in my opinion, but I did find myself really liking more than a few of them. And regardless, the pixel art itself is on point. They perfectly evoke the Gen 1 Pokemon style through their color usage and awkward poses, and I found it really hard not to enjoy seeing the art direction on display. Seeing that the overworld and buildings did a great job of evoking the feel was one thing, but these creatures really sell the idea here. So back on track, as a newly certified Disc Ranger, you'll take your team of 3 creatures around various familiar feeling locations. The first area you really explore is a forest north of town, naturally, and eventually you'll wind up in dungeons and caverns filled with water. In these areas, you'll find random encounters that are, very thankfully, represented in the overworld. Most of the time they'll bump into you, but it is possible to dodge some battles with good reaction time. When you do make contact, you'll find that the battle system is a traditional 3 vs 3 system akin to Dragon Quest Monsters. Each creature has a certain amount of energy points dependent on their level, and these points are depleted by using moves. Turns end when every monster is attacked, and the general strategy is to either defeat your opponents quickly, or to wear down their energy points so that they have to recharge their meter. When they recharge their meter, they are left open to attack and are much weaker. Even tougher enemies that have very high defenses can crumple quickly while recharging energy, and once you start factoring in that the creatures also have an element system functioning very similar to Pokemon's, battles get very satisfying to plan out and execute. You do get new creatures by chance. Seemingly by luck, you acquire a copy of the creature's data from random encounters, which you then take to a PC to burn your own copy of that monster. Each one starts at level 1 no matter what, but we'll get back to that in a bit. Your early game options are limited, and you'll probably just wind up brute forcing through most of the encounters, but around chapter 3, the game's difficulty spikes up and demands you to begin thinking about what types of creatures you are using. Again, like Pokemon, there's even a split in their stats. There are physical attacks and mind attacks, which are equivalent to the official special slit from Gold and Silver. So you may have a move that's super effective against an enemy creature, but if their defense stat is particularly high against the move type you're using, it won't do much damage. It's a lot of fun, and it felt great learning how the types of creatures played off each other, which is always one of my favorite things in any new Pokemon game. Describing how each creature actually learned their moves in this game helps get into one of Disc Creature's biggest strengths: its convenience. Early into the game, someone hacks into your character's tech and allows you to manage their moves on the fly. So at any time in the overworld, you can select which 4 moves your creatures will take into battle. It will also tell you when they'll learn their next move, and even tease some universal moves each creature can learn that you have to unlock through playing the game. Part of me likes the decision making of deciding which 4 moves your Pokemon will have at all times, but I found it much more interesting with its implementation here in this title. The convenience spans across many facets of the game. The movement speed is high, navigating the world feels great, conversations and battles flow quickly, and once you've had creatures level up to certain thresholds, you can go to a restaurant that, for a price, will level up your creatures to certain levels, touching on what I alluded to a bit ago. So by using this restaurant, you can near immediately bring a level 1 creature close to your strongest monsters, decide which moves you want to assign to them, and have them battle ready in just a few short seconds. This removes so much grinding and actively encourages you to constantly try new parties, as opposed to just picking one team and powering through the game with them. When it's so quick and just takes some money, why not try that new creature you just got from a gacha machine? I absolutely adore it. As it turns out, knocking down some traditions in favor of making a better player experience doesn't take away the challenge or appeal of these types of games, it only enhances it and shows that Disc Creatures is more than just nostalgia. But man, the nostalgia is so good too. There are so many small, great touches, some of which are clearly intentional. Some NPCs vaguely ask if you know something, if you say yes, they give a vague remark, and if you say no, they'll actually explain what they mean. You can sit on a couch in this game's equivalent of a Pokemon Center. There's a mimic creature that looks like a disc you find on the ground, like Voltorb and other mimics in games. You're just constantly running into stuff like this, but it doesn't feel hollow or even phoned in. Even better than the obvious references are the ones I was less sure about. Some events invoke specific memories that I'm still enjoying thinking about if they were actually references or not. The first boss of this game takes place in a children's playroom, which reminded me of Toy Town from Digimon World. And additionally, there's a part in Disc Creatures where a big monster comes right to your town, demanding to challenge the strongest Disc Ranger there. And that will sound incredibly familiar to Digimon World fans, and may even stir up some bad memories of being trapped in that game's respawn point by the Greymon who comes to challenge Hero. Disc Creatures had me feeling great. Half the time I was reliving my favorite games from my childhood, and the other half of the time I was enjoying how its new school takes on classic monster taming systems both made my experience easier and more challenging. If you have any fondness for the games I was constantly referencing in this video, I can't recommend this one enough. And even if you don't have much fondness for them, you might find something to like here. The game is charmingly localized, and I think the battle system might be enough to hook in anyone who just enjoys RPG systems. It was very interesting to come to this game after playing Game Freak's latest offering, Little Town Hero, and right before their new set of Pokemon titles release. All said and done, I have a feeling Disc Creatures might wind up as my favorite of the bunch. I'm thinking about covering more monster raising games in the future, so if you enjoyed this and would like to see more, let me know in the comments section. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and feel free to subscribe if this video helped you decide to try the game. That said, take it easy. Shout out to the Patreon peeps for being so patient with me this past month for this video.